I'll try and keep this brief so we can spend a lot of time on discussing matters which I always find much more interesting than speaking. Okay, after meeting spring 2002 in Paris, Jugendschutznet from Germany and the Magenta Complaints Bureau for Discrimination on the Internet immediately started working on creating a network of organizations that combat cyberhate. Funny enough, Jugendschutznet, youth protection in Germany, started around the same time as we did in the Netherlands. We never encountered each other, but we both had exactly the same idea. As soon as we started working, we knew we had to create a network because internet doesn't stop at the border. The founding meeting of INACH took place in Amsterdam in October 2002. We started with members in 4 countries: Belgium, Germany, the Netherlands, and Switzerland. Today, there are members in 16 European countries and 2 more in Canada and America. It's still, Jugendschutz and Magenta are the only 2 outfits that are specialized on combating cyberhate, that are a specific outfit to deal with it. The other members also do other work in the field of human rights and combating discrimination. Working on cyberhate is not a simple task. There's no uniform legislation and no single definition. For instance, if you go to Latvia, they have a completely different idea about homosexuality than they would do in, let's say, Germany. So flexibility is a key word within INACH. What all network nodes have in common is that they all have a mechanism in place where people can file a complaint about cyberhate, and none of the members are industry related. Although none of us has a problem to work with the industry, and members frequently do, we feel there would be a conflict of interest if internet providers would be able to become members. It's very difficult if it comes to blows, so to speak, and you trying to take one of your own members to court. That's simply not practical. To give you an idea about the diversity of the network, I will give you 3 examples of 3 members. First, you have us in the Netherlands. And as you heard from Ronald, we basically work by handling complaints that we receive. Now, Jugendschutz in Germany focuses more on right-wing extremist groups, and they work mostly on the basis of their own research that they do. And then a few years ago in Latvia, internet service providers, minority groups, the 2 biggest internet fora, and human rights organizations negotiated for many months, which resulted in a joint manifest for a hate-free internet. The Latvian Center for Human Rights provided a legal framework and still advises moderators and government on cyberhate. Also, they monitor the internet, especially just before in real-life events, such as Gay Pride, to see if and what kind of trouble can be expected during these events. And so they receive very little complaints, but they're much more working in the philosophical field and creating frameworks within legal frameworks, as well as frameworks for people, or for providers, for instance, or moderators, in which they can do their work better. You might wonder what the use of a network is if working methods vary so much. Through cooperating and teaming up, we can effectively get material removed, and in severe cases have perpetrators prosecuted. For instance, in the case of Red Watch, Red Watch is an online hit list of a neo-Nazi group called Combat 18. And hit list, I presume you all know what a hit list is. They're trying to get people killed, in essence. The Polish version featured the name and the home address of the parents of the Secretary General of Poland's biggest anti-racism organization. That is called Never Again. When Never Again took action against it, the site moved to Slovakia. The INACH member in Slovakia got it removed, after which it went to Canada, where CARES, our Canadian member, made sure it was removed. Finally, they made the mistake to move it to Germany, where Jugendschutz not only had it removed within 5 minutes, but it also came with a wealth of information that enabled the Polish police to make some arrests. With the explosive growth of the internet, various avenues of combating hate have to be explored. Because the INACH network is so diverse, there's always at least 2 or 3 possible ways of tackling various problems. We've long passed the point where you can legislate good behavior. Therefore, we need to develop new tactics. Education, especially for young users, training of moderators, creating covenants between social networks like Facebook and their users. Does what happens on the internet have an effect on what happens in society? Of course it does. Now more than ever. Kids from the age of 10 on have their own Facebook pages. In the Netherlands, 3/4 of the youth between the ages of 14 and 25 have a hives. That's like the Dutch version of Facebook. 60% of young people's social life takes place through the internet. Intolerance, hate speech, and misinformation on the internet create an atmosphere that makes violence in society acceptable. I'm not telling you anything new here. Extreme violence and explicit sex is forbidden to show on television before a certain time in the evening. Why is that? Because we, society, think it has an adverse effect on children. Connection between how women are objectified in many music videos and how girls are treated by their boyfriends has been well established. But as soon as we start talking about the internet, all of a sudden this shouldn't apply? All I can say, it's no rocket science. Although we're making some progress, slowly the message is sinking in particular of late, with counter-terrorism units around the world. In several countries, these outfits work together with INACH members and want to be kept in the loop about web forums and websites where cyberhate is festering. And it's actually a very interesting side effect from 9/11, if I can be so brutal, because like we've been working on this stuff since 1996 and everybody's like, whatever. And it took such a terrible event like 9/11 to make people realize, like, hey, you know, words can kill. Now I'm going to move to a completely different topic. So far, INACH doesn't receive outside funding. All members pay a membership fee according to their ability to pay. And for the events we organize, the hosting member, for instance, our annual conference is always hosted by a different member in a different country. We're still looking for somebody in the Caribbean as a member. And they can immediately organize a conference.
I'm sure somebody will offer to go there and check it out for you.
The hosting member finds sponsors or tries to. Still, we have been able to have a member meeting and a workshop for complaints handlers and a public conference each year. It's not just that INACH doesn't receive any kind of funding. Also, most individual members have to do the work as a sideline. Although authorities and industry love to depend on our expertise, they like to have it for free. We've come a long way on our own, but the lack of funding, especially of the individual members, makes it very hard to have consistency in the daily work. Lack of funding specifically for work on cyberhate makes it difficult for members to commit a set amount of time in the long term. So before I will launch into a full fundraising mode, I think I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.